Go.
Hey guys, my name is Nick Kimbrough. Going to be teaching a small class today on salvage and overhaul, specifically on where to overhaul, and then a little later on how to breach an ordinary construction wall with a pig head axe. Salvage and overhaul is a vast subject. We're just going to focus on these two little things, keep it about 30 minutes or so. Like I said, my name is Nick Kimbrough, career firefighter engineer, the City of Tullahoma Fire Department. Been on that department going on 12 years. Been in the fire service about 15. Objectives, we're going to define overhaul, considerations with the different types of building construction, using your senses for locating hidden fire, utilizing the thermal camera for fighting hidden fire, and discuss some of the tools that we use during overhaul operations. Can anybody in here give me a brief definition of what overhaul is?
To make sure everything's taken care of, like their stuff properly, or maybe close.
Okay, no, yeah, that's a fairly good definition. Anybody else want to give it a shot?
Just being sure that the fire is out to the fullest extent that you can.
There's no extensions anywhere else in the residence.
Okay. All right. Overhaul is defined in the book, the process of searching for and extinguishing pockets of fire that remain after a fire has been brought under control. Technically, the fire is not considered fully extinguished until overhaul has been completed. Who can tell me why we do overhaul? What's the
There's
main?
no rekindle.
Exactly right. Even the smallest pocket of hidden embers inside of a wall or something like that can cause a rekindle. And I'm sure most of us have been on a rekindle at some point. That's why whenever you're doing overhaul operations.
Okay, tell the fire department, need first respond 1310 Cedar Lane, apartment 608. Having 47 in there out for female patient, one BP, vomiting, rectal bleeding, very vomiting this time.
I apologize for that interruption, but that's why, like I said, because of rekindle, that's why we do overhaul. Overhaul must be thorough and extensive to search for those hidden pockets to make sure there is not a rekindle. That's also why during any overhaul operations you have to have a charged hose lines present, so when you do locate those hidden pockets of fire or embers or whatever it may be, you can go ahead and extinguish that. Overhaul does depend on a building's construction, the contents in that building, and the size of the fire. Important factors.
Copy County Med 2 and route 1310 Cedar Lane.
Important factors to consider when doing overhaul. Again, the construction, the contents, the structural integrity of the building. If you got a lightweight construction, truss frame building, or like when we went and toured the new Publix the other day, they've got the heavy HVAC units on the rooftop. That's something that's to consider whenever you're doing overall operation, as the building could already possibly be weakened due to fire conditions on the inside.
Copy County Med 2 and route 1310 Cedar Lane.
Different type of construction, fire resistant construction, places that you might want to search for hidden fire, utility shafts, pipe chases, doors or dampers that did not close tightly. Because in the most case, most of your fire resistant construction is going to have like your concrete walls and stuff like that. So most of your hidden fire is going to be in the voids like it described there. In your wood frame and ordinary construction, you're going to want to open every wall, ceiling, and potential void space. That fire could be hidden anywhere, and all of us here have experienced that at some point. We found fire everywhere in an ordinary construction house. Balloon frame construction is where it gets really important, because balloon frame construction, it can conceal the fire anywhere in the walls because of the void spaces. Like I said, the fire can spread from the basic to the attic without showing on other floors. Careful overhaul of every floor is absolutely required. Look for voids created by remodeling. Just like our Station 1, we have a false ceiling. false
South
doors.
Alma Fire Department, be advised, female MC, advising patient's heart rate dropped to 39, O2 status.
Okay. Whenever you're doing your overhaul, you want to use your senses first. Okay. You're going to look. Who can tell me some of the things that you would look for when you're doing an overhaul?
I mean, smoke.
Okay. Yeah. When you look for smoke, you're going to look for fresh or new smoke. You've already got the fire you think out. If you kind of back off on your firefighting operations a little bit, you see any new smoke coming out of different areas, that could indicate there could be some hidden embers in there. Smokes from around doors, windows, any type of void that could be under there, smoke coming out of there, that could be hidden fire.
Does the color of the smoke have anything to do with that too?
It could. Well, I mean, the color of your smoke is going to indicate typically your intensity of your fire. But also, and we've seen it a lot, when we pull a wall or pull a ceiling, you might find when we start spraying water up in there, some red glowing embers get pushed out. That's another indication that there's hidden fire up in there. Who can tell me where, after we've kind of ceased our actual firefighting operations, what's going to be our first area of concern that we're going to search first whenever we do overhaul, when we pull a wall? Where's going to be the first area that we kind of check?
Where the fire has done started?
Okay, well, in your most heavily damaged or burned out areas,
Okay.
because that's obviously where potentially the fire was the most intense.
Right.
That's where the fires had a chance to burn the longest, so that's where there could be more hidden fire.
Okay.
When you're listening, just like you're sitting around a campfire at night, you want to listen for those crackling sounds, hissing sounds. Use the back of your hand, feel the wall. Just like when we teach kids, use the back of your hand because of possible electrocution hazards. Feel the wall. If you feel heat, pull that wall. Anybody tell me some of the tools we might use in overhaul operations?
The Halligan tool.
Okay, the Halligan bar, what would we specifically use it for?
I mean, we could pry the drywall out,
Okay.
check inside.
Anything else? Any other tools?
Thermal imager.
Thermal imager. That's a very good one. It's probably one of the more important tools that we use.
Flathead axe.
Flathead axe, thickhead axe. Again, here's just some of the tools. Pipe pole and plastic hook. Going to use those specifically for pulling ceiling and removing wall board. Halligan tool, removing baseboards, windows and door frames. Axes, chopping through wall, wood. Shovels and pitchforks, removing debris. Power tools, opening walls and ceilings again. And floodlights, scene lights. Why would that be important in overhaul operations?
I mean, visibility is important.
Visibility, obviously, 9 times out of 10, power's already going to be pulled, power's going to be out. Most of our structure fires do happen at night, plus the conditions inside, it's going to be a dark, dingy, wet, dirty environment. So we're going to have to use floodlights to illuminate the scene so we can see what we're doing. Alright, and then like Dwight said just a minute ago, thermal imager. That's probably one of the most important tools and one of the biggest leaps forward in the technology as far as overhaul operations. Not only do we use them for search and rescue, but for finding hidden fire in walls is one of the most important things we do. And like it says, it displays minute differences in temperature, and it can quickly identify areas that needed to be opened. A whole lot quicker than going around walls, feeling, with your hand. Also, it kind of minimizes the damage that we're going to do to the walls. We open up a lot less walls. Like I said earlier, in years past, we would go and open every single wall. Now we kind of can back off a little bit, use that thermal camera, focus on a specific area, and that leads to one of our priorities in the fire service. Obviously, life safety is going to be the first, extinguishing the fire and controlling the fire, and then the salvation of the property. So if we can save the homeowner a little bit of money by not opening up every single wall utilizing this tool, that's a great thing. I've got a quick little video to show you right here on this.
Hello everyone, this is Training Battalion Chief Brandon Garcia. During our recent work on improving how we fight attic
Don't know
fires,
why it's not coming
we
up on
talked
TV.
extensively on ways that we
Watch it
can
right here.
improve our third incident priority, property conservation. Loss control is not only important for providing a high level of customer service to our community, but it also plays a key role in fire investigation for determining cause and origin. Our PFA fire investigators have stated that in the recent years, operations have done a great job of stopping fire operations at the ideal time to allow the investigators to get inside to begin their work. Like everything else we do, there are always areas that we can improve upon. In this video, we'll be discussing how we can look for suspected fire behind walls and ceilings using some pictures taken from a recent PFA fire, followed by some clips from a video discussing evidence preservation during fire attack and salvage and overhaul. This video has a joint effort of several federal agencies. It has been edited to highlight the points that relate to us here at PFA.
Copy County Med 2.
Let's begin by discussing how we look for fires in void spaces in walls, floors, and ceilings. This is the room or origin of a recent fire that we had. You can see in the photo that it was extremely hot in this room and all the sheetrock was severely compromised due to the massive amount of heat. It is important to know that sheetrock is an incredible fire break and fire will not pass through it by means of conduction. The only way that fire will pass through sheetrock is if there has been a breach in the physical structure integrity of the material. Fire can only spread between spaces by means of ventilation path. So we need to use this knowledge when deciding where to look for extension. Thermal imaging cameras are great tools, but they're only telling us surface temperatures and that can lead us astray depending on the situation. This is a picture of the ceiling in the room of origin. The ceiling sheetrock in this room had dropped and exposed all the joist members. Remember how hot it got in this room? And the temperature at the ceiling will always be the highest. Notice though, however, there is no charring to the bottom chords of the roof joists. The only area that we begin to see fire extension past the sheetrock is the area around the ceiling light fixture. This is because there are small gaps between the sheetrock and the can of the fixture. These are the areas that need to be inspected first when we suspect fire might have passed from one space into another. Take a look at this picture of the wall light switch. Again, we can see high heat on the sheetrock that is still present, but not charring behind it where the sheetrock has been removed. If we take a look at the light switch on the wall, we see some smoke staining, but not charring. The process of extension was beginning to occur here prior to extinguishment, but did not progress that far. These next few pictures depict what is typically done to look for fire extension. These are random holes in the sheetrock and behind each of them is a clean material. Knowing what we know, we can already determine that before ever making the hole, instead, think about what the fire needs to extend and start your efforts in those areas using a methodical approach instead of a random action. When we are engaged in these types of operations during a fire scene, they are typically done during a stage of the fire where we have time. Use that time to process your thoughts and approach your investigation as a professional. I hope that you find this information valuable and you can apply it on your next fire. Enjoy the following video clips as they will expand on ways to improve our salvage and overhaul efforts to assist with cause and origin determination.
Hair, whether it's blood. Now, you can leave that wall up there and we can see the patterns now when we come in. You're
All right, now we kind of watched that video on where to do overhaul. We've got one here on, or we're going to do a PowerPoint presentation on actually breaching an ordinary construction wall, drywall using a pig head axe. And then we'll go out and actually practice this.
Call County 701.
701.
Call
cutting interior wall.
Pacific address once we find the fire.
First thing we're going to do is determine which area of the wall will be opened up. Typically, in most cases, an officer is going to make that determination, and typically the areas, like we stated earlier, that are most heavily damaged by the fire open first, followed by the surrounding areas, and then working outward. And as we'll demonstrate outside, you're going to use the axe blade to begin cutting near the top of the wall. We're going to cut downward between the wall studs. Then after that's completed, we're going to use the pick end of the axe to pull the wall material away from the studs and open the wall. If necessary, we're going to remove items such as baseboard or trim with a Halligan tool. Also need to be cognizant, and they're going to search to make sure that there's no wall outlets, hidden wires, switches, or anything like that. Continue opening additional sections of the wall till the desired area is opening, until you don't find any evidence of hidden fire or embers. Pull out any insulation such as rolled fiberglass found from behind the wall. Alright, got a couple more short videos on that real quick. That was just a quick little video. And we have one more. We got one more quick video doing some overhaul operations using the Wonder Boy firefighting axe. You can just see here they're making old holes in the ceiling trying to search for hidden fire. You see the smoke coming out like we discussed earlier. You see there a hidden pocket of fire up in that ceiling. Again, they've got the charged hose line ready to go. Removing insulation from inside of a void in between two studs. More hidden fire in the form of embers.
And then pry it.
You see the embers blowing out from underneath that siding there. Alright guys, now we're going to take a real quick just written examination, and then we're going to go outside and practice our skill drill. Just as quick as you finish, just hand them to me, and I'll get them graded. All right, guys, we're gonna go outside and practice our skill drill real quick. All right, guys, just like we discussed in the video, first thing we're gonna do with our axe is we're gonna begin cutting near the top, down, in between the two studs. And then after that's completed, we're gonna make sure, check that there's no switches, receptacles, wires, anything like that in the way. If necessary, which we don't have any today, but if necessary, use the Halligan bar to move any baseboards or anything like that. Then we're gonna take the pick head of the axe, pop it in, and start pulling down. And if there were any insulation or anything like that, we will pull it out. I'm gonna have Firefighter Bradford demonstrate this. He's in full PPE. He's gonna start by making his cuts down.
Don't see any wires, don't see any receptacles or any switches.
Alright, so he's removed the section of wall, no insulation or anything like that, no obvious fire damage. Again, we would start doing something like this nearest the heavy area of the most heavy fire damage, and then working our way out from there.